Have you ever seen something so peculiar that it stopped you in your tracks? Well, what if I told you about a white horse covered in fur that looked like honeycomb? Yes, honeycomb, like something out of a storybook. Today we're diving into a tale so unique it will make you question what nature is truly capable of. But hold on. Before we unravel this mystery, let me ask you something. What's the most unusual animal rescue story you've ever heard? Whatever it is, I guarantee this one tops it. Stick around because what happens to this horse will surprise you, inspire you, and even teach you a thing or two about determination and compassion. It all began on a misty morning in a quiet countryside village. A farmer who we'll call Edward was out inspecting his fields when he noticed something strange in the distance. At first, he thought it was a stray sheep. It wouldn't have been the first time one wandered onto his land. But as he got closer, he realized it wasn't a sheep at all. It was a horse. Not just any horse, though. A white horse with a coat unlike anything Edward had ever seen. The fur was textured, almost like the intricate patterns of a honeycomb. Now, pause for a moment. What would you do if you stumbled across something like this? Would you investigate further or call for help? Edward, being the curious soul he was, decided to take a closer look. Now, let's be honest. Most of us would probably pull out our phones and Google weird honeycomb horse. Edward didn't have that luxury. Instead, he relied on his instincts, and perhaps a bit of courage. As Edward approached, he noticed the horse wasn't in great shape. Its fur wasn't naturally honeycomb-like. It was matted, tangled, and covered in some kind of substance that made it hard and crusty. And here's where the mystery deepened. What could cause this? Was it a medical condition, a bizarre accident, or something more sinister? Edward knew one thing for sure. This horse needed help. But how do you rescue an animal in such a state? And more importantly, how do you gain its trust? The answer to that question wasn't easy. In fact, it would take an entire village and a whole lot of patience to figure it out. But before we get to that, let's talk about how Edward managed to bring the horse back to his farm. Edward approached slowly, speaking in a calm, soothing voice. Animals can sense intention, and this horse was no exception. After several tense minutes, the horse finally allowed Edward to place a rope around its neck. The journey back to the farm was anything but smooth. The horse, weak from whatever ordeal it had been through, struggled to walk. Edward had to stop multiple times to give it water and reassurance. It was during one of these stops that Edward noticed something peculiar. The honeycomb fur wasn't just matted. It was covered in tiny barnacle-like growths. Now, here's a question for you. How do barnacles, which are usually found in the ocean, end up on a horse in the middle of the countryside? Sounds like a riddle, doesn't it? Once Edward brought the horse back to his farm, he knew he couldn't tackle this challenge alone. He reached out to his neighbors, a local vet, and even posted about the horse on community boards. The response was overwhelming. People from all over the village came together, bringing supplies, sharing advice, and offering their time to help. And this is where the story takes a heartwarming turn. But just as things seemed to be improving, an unexpected twist put everything and everyone to the test. While the villagers were busy cleaning and treating the horse's coat, a sudden storm swept through the area. The winds were so strong that tents and equipment were blown away. The horse, already anxious, became even more difficult to manage. At one point, it seemed like all their efforts would be in vain. But then something extraordinary happened. Despite the chaos, the villagers didn't give up. They worked through the storm, taking turns to calm the horse and continue the treatment. Slowly but surely, the honeycomb-like fur began to transform. What they discovered underneath was astonishing. The horse's skin, though scarred, was healing. Its coat, once matted and filthy, began to show hints of its natural white color. It was as if the horse was getting a spa day, albeit the most chaotic one you could imagine. Months later, the transformation was complete. The horse, now named Hope by the villagers, was unrecognizable. It was healthy, strong, and free from the strange honeycomb fur that once defined its appearance. Hope's story didn't just end with her recovery, it inspired the entire village. They began organizing regular animal rescue efforts, ensuring that no creature in need was left behind. So, what's the moral of this story? Sometimes the most extraordinary things happen when we come together. Hope's journey is a testament to the power of compassion, community, and perseverance. And as for Edward, he often says he didn't rescue Hope. Hope rescued him. What about you? What would you do if faced with such a situation? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more incredible stories like this one.